Heat wave apocalypse strikes. And the husband of Livian's son-in-law finally reveals his true colors. He took back Lisa Zhang and little Liam Zhang and occupied my air-conditioned bedroom, indulging little Liam Zhang watermelon to eat only the heart, vegetables and leaves, and bathing in drinking water. All the food I had stored was wasted in less than a week, without the food supplies. They forced me to go out to buy groceries. The sun never sets for 2 months. And the outdoor temperature is as high as 70 C. I get burned all over my body as soon as I go out, but they also disliked the fact that I only brought back potatoes, not meat. So they locked me up in the dog kennel and killed my dog in front of me for extra food. I was dried alive and mummified. Open your eyes again and go back to the 5 days before heatwave apocalypse. This time, I moved the dog to the villa opposite overnight. And then, I picked a floor-to-ceiling window with the best view. Watermelon in my left hand and Coke in my right hand. And let's see how they die. Lin, why are you collecting so much food? It's such a hot day. Why don't you buy more watermelon and buy so much fast food? My husband, Stephen Zhang, looked at the mobile phone page where I was about to place an order and couldn't help but ask Helen Zhang. On the side, put her hands on her hips and followed my husband's words and started to complain. What else can you do? It's not the first day you've known how much this old woman you married can spend money. She's been unlucky for 8 lifetimes. Marrying a prodigal wife who can't even lay eggs. I looked at the 2 familiar faces and the environment in front of me. He raised his head suddenly and glanced at the calendar on the wall of the living room. Suddenly, I realized that I seemed to be reborn back to the first 5 days of heatwave apocalypse. My eyes were dull and speechless. It seemed that my whole body was still immersed in the scene of being swallowed by the hot weather. Sweat broke out on my forehead. Suddenly, a painful memory appeared in my mind. I and my last life. Stephen Zhang and I were married just over a year before we had the heatwave apocalypse. I have been a cautious person since I was a child. As the temperature gets higher day by day, I worry about the day when it will be too hot to go out. Therefore, I installed solar panels at home in advance and bought enough food for the 3 of us for a month. Unexpectedly, on the first day when the high temperature started, my husband hurriedly took his sister, a single mother, and little Liam Zhang back home. At first, I just treated everyone as a family and helped as much as I could, but my Lisa Zhang's son, Liam Zhang, ate all the fruits I bought in just 3 days after arriving at my house. He even stepped on the unfinished watermelons and crushed several of them. He said it was fun. I scolded twice in a low voice. Don't waste food. Unexpectedly, when Helen Zhang saw this, she stepped forward to protect little Liam Zhang and scolded me. You bitch. Who told you to call me a good grandson? What kind of thing are you? Watermelon will be trampled to pieces if it is trampled to pieces. It's okay if you don't eat it. Lisa Zhang glanced at me contemptuously. Sister-in-law, you're not jealous of me because you can't give birth to a son, are you? Do you want to abuse Liam Zhang to get back at me? She looked down at Liam Zhang's hand and started to make up things out of nothing. Oh, why is my son's hand blue? It couldn't have been your sister-in-law who pinched it on purpose, right? As she said that, she wiped away her tears and cried to my husband, Brother, Liam Zhang and I came here to make my sister-in-law unhappy. But how old is Liam Zhang? Sister-in-law, if you have anything to say to me, don't point it at the child. When Stephen Zhang heard what Lisa Zhang said, without saying a word, he stepped forward and kicked me hard in the stomach. As if one kick wasn't enough to relieve his anger, he pulled my hair and punched my head twice more. I was kicked to the ground, a little dazed, and had no strength to fight back. I looked up at him in disbelief. My husband, who is usually the most gentle to me, seemed to have a different face at this moment. He stared at me and pointed at me. Lily Chen, shame on you. You dare to bully Liam Zhang. Didn't watermelon just buy him food? You loser who can't give birth to a son. He glanced at the bright sun outside the window, changed his gentle look before, and began to show his true face. Lily Chen, I've tolerated you enough this year. Why don't you get out? Otherwise I will be in charge of this family now. If you don't want to get out, you have to listen to me. I didn't say anything. I only knew that the temperature outside was now 70 degrees. If I left this home, I would die. I suppressed my anger and could only bow my head, but when Stephen Zhang saw that I had given in, he became even more aggressive. Not only did he order me to give up the master bedroom to Lisa Zhang and Liam Zhang, he also ordered me to sleep in the toilet. He said, "A guy like you who can't give birth to a son only deserves to live in the toilet." I took my 2 puppies to sleep in the toilet for a few days. Every day. Everything I ate was the leftovers from their food. I could only chew watermelon skin, but heatwave apocalypse had just started for a week, and they had already eaten all the food I had stored up. And even the stored water resources were wasted by them taking baths and firing water guns. The resources at home were no longer enough for us to live on. Stephen Zhang listened to Lisa Zhang and took me directly to the balcony. That day, Stephen Zhang pulled my hair and threw me into the cage where dogs are usually kept. He also locked the dog kennel so that I could not escape. He sneered and locked the dog kennel and threw the key downstairs. "Lily Chen, go to hell. When you die and the heat is over, your house and property will be mine. I have finally waited for this day to marry you. I am so disgusted." There was no cover on the balcony. After just 5 minutes on the balcony, I started sweating profusely, and my skin was already red and hot from the sun, but no matter how hard I begged and knelt to kowtow, the people in the room remained unmoved, even in front of me. Stephen Zhang directly killed my pet dog, disemboweled it, cut the dog meat into hot pot, and ate it. The reason is just that Liam Zhang is making noises about eating meat, with tears streaming down my face. I leaned against the dog kennel with a chain around my neck. My body was covered in sunburn, and layers of skin fell off my face when the last drop of water in my body was lost. I closed my eyes completely, and was sunburned into a mummy in the pain and scorching sun, and died with hatred. There were tears in my eyes, as if the pain from the high temperature was still vivid in my mind. I touched the intact skin on my body and felt relieved. I directly closed the shopping page on my phone. This time I won't buy them anything, seeing that I was silent. Helen Zhang hurriedly threw the rag in her hand at me. "Why are you still sitting here? Why don't you hurry up and do the housework?" She turned around and spoke to my husband with a smile on her face. "Godsend. It's getting hotter and hotter today. It's not good for your sister to live alone with her children in a rented house. That house has no air conditioning, only an electric fan. Can you bring Lily here to stay for a few days?" Stephen Zhang looked at me subconsciously. He knew that I had never liked Lisa Zhang, not because of anything else, but because I feel that as Lisa Zhang. Lisa Zhang and my husband are too close. I even found them sleeping on the same bed during lunch break once in my last life. I didn't know what their relationship was until after I died. It turns out that Lisa Zhang is not Stephen Zhang's biological sister at all. She is Stephen Zhang's child bride. They were originally engaged, but Stephen Zhang took a fancy to my wealthy family, so he hid it and defrauded me of my marriage, just so he could find an opportunity to kill me and seize my family property. Even though little Liam Zhang is Stephen Zhang's son, I have been unable to get pregnant for a year after getting married because Helen Zhang has been deliberately drugging my diet because she was afraid that after I gave birth to a child, the family property would not be able to go to her sweet grandson. Stephen Zhang glanced at me with a flattering look on his face. "Honey, let Lily and Liam Zhang stay here for a few days. They are orphans and widowers. They are so pitiful." I sneered. Compared with his cold-blooded appearance in the previous life, I just thought it was ridiculous. I nodded. "Okay. Let them come and stay for a few days. I happen to be on a business trip these 2 days, and they can talk to my mother when they come." Helen Zhang's frown relaxed a little. "I just want Lily to come and bring some good luck in giving birth to a son to our family. No matter how good a woman you are at work, it doesn't matter. You still have to give birth to a son. Otherwise, it's all in vain, and you're not worthy of being a wife." I suppressed the disgust in my heart and forced a smile. There are still 5 days until heatwave apocalypse. Let's see how long you can keep smiling. That night, I packed my bags and prepared to leave home. When I was packing my luggage, Stephen Zhang happened to pick up Lisa Zhang and his son. Helen Zhang beamed when she saw Liam Zhang. I had bought a large box of watermelons at home, and Liam Zhang opened one and ate it. Saying it was not sweet, Helen Zhang was busy cutting another one for him. In the end, most of the large box of watermelons was wasted, And Liam Zhang finally said it was sweet, only then did I. Helen Zhang. Smile with satisfaction. Point at me. And say, hurry up and place an order and buy another box. Liam Zhang loves it. Liam Zhang put his hands on his hips, picked up the half-opened watermelon and smashed it at me, with an ugly smile on his fat face. Damn woman. Go to hell. My mother and grandma say you are a dead woman. A dead woman who can't give birth to a son. After saying that, he wanted to catch my puppy and tease me. I snorted and glared at him. And Liam Zhang immediately didn't dare to step forward. Lisa Zhang was busy explaining. Sister-in-law. Liam Zhang is joking. Don't take it seriously. I looked at Stephen Zhang and Lisa Zhang, who were sitting close to each other on the sofa. So intimate, Lisa Zhang proudly hugged Stephen Zhang's arm and said to me, Sister-in-law, are you going on a business trip? Don't worry. I will take good care of my brother. I clenched my fists and raised the corners of my lips. Yes, you should take care of each other. After saying that, I turned around and left home. I couldn't help cursing in my heart. You guys just wait to die. The temperature outside has not yet reached 40 degrees. Although it is a bit hot, it is still possible to go out and walk. Opposite my building is a small villa complex. And there are a few fully decorated villas that are unoccupied. I contacted the landlord and transferred 1 year's rent directly to the landlord. The landlord gave me the door code on the same day that I moved my luggage in overnight. There were less than 5 days until heatwave apocalypse, so I had to race against time before going out. I looked at the 2 puppies that had been with me for 7 or 8 years. And I couldn't help but feel sad when I thought of the tragic deaths of these 2 dogs in my previous life. I took them out the door on the pretext that the puppy was sick and had to stay at the Memorial Hospital for a few days. Stephen Zhang's family has no affection at all for these 2 dogs. When they heard that the dog was sick, Helen Zhang wanted to kick my dog twice. I protected the dog and rolled my eyes at her. She cursed. Take this bad thing away quickly. Don't let my good grandson get sick. I moved directly into the villa with my 2 dogs. In hot weather, food, air conditioning, and clean water are all indispensable. I ordered dozens of boxes of instant ramen, a self-heating hot pot, spicy Vietnamese pho, and other quick meals on my mobile phone, as well as some of my favorite snacks. I also bought several large freezers online, filled with all kinds of fruits, cold drinks, vegetables, and meat. I also bought some commonly used medicines and dog food. I hired a few workers to fill the roof of the villa with solar panels, with the power generation function. I don't have to worry about running out of electricity as long as the sun shines. There are 2 floors of basements under the villa. I bought several huge water storage barrels and filled them with water. This amount of water cannot be used for several months if I use it sparingly. I am also afraid that when the end of the world comes, everyone will lose their minds and my supplies will be missed. So an intelligently controlled power grid and a series of intelligent anti-theft systems were installed around the villa. As soon as a thief or stranger enters the protected area, the artificial intelligence will launch an attack. Electric shock and anesthesia are enough to protect my safety. I wore sunglasses and a hat all day long and never left the villa door unless I had something to do. I installed the equipment and moved supplies at night when no one was around. But no one noticed me. In my previous life, I remember that the high temperature lasted for nearly 2 months. This time, I was fully prepared and just waited for the high temperature to hit. Tonight is a little special because everyone didn't wait for sunset tonight. The sun was hanging in the sky as if it was getting closer to the earth. And the outdoor temperature had reached 50 degrees. The villa faces Stephen Zhang and I's home. As soon as I open the curtains, I can see what Stephen Zhang's family is doing in the house opposite. I watched a few of them leaning on the sofa. The family was having a great time eating fruit and watching TV. Lisa Zhang was still lying in Stephen Zhang's arms at this time. And she looked more like a couple than me and him. I usually buy all the food at home, even when I was on a business trip before. I ordered the food they wanted online and had it delivered to their door. Stephen Zhang naturally thought that it would be the same this time. It has been 4 days since I left home. A heatwave apocalypse is coming tonight, and the food in the Safeway is almost gone, but Stephen Zhang's family remained unmoved, and no one went out to purchase. I tightened the curtains, lay back on the bed, and turned on the cell phone monitoring before I left home. I specially installed surveillance cameras in the corner of my home, and now I can see everything they do. I end the surveillance. Stephen Zhang's family seems to have no sense of crisis. They used all the food I left behind to cook a hot pot. And there was not much edible food left in the refrigerator. Seeing this, Stephen Zhang finally panicked. He quickly called me via video and answered the phone. His pretendingly intimate voice sounded very disgusting to me. "Honey, we've finished the food at home. Don't forget to buy some more online. If it's inconvenient for you, I'll go out with Mom to buy some later." I looked at Lisa Zhang, who was next to Stephen Zhang in the surveillance camera but was not on camera. I sneered and suppressed the nausea in my heart. I pretended to be affectionate and said, "Okay, hubby, I'll place the order after I hang up the phone. It's hot outside, so don't go out and buy it. Otherwise, what will you do if it gets too hot?" Stephen Zhang nodded. "My wife still loves me. Remember to buy a chicken as well as some of the steak and abalone you had last time. You know Liam Zhang is growing, so he needs to eat something good." I couldn't help but roll my eyes out of sight of him. It's not like their family didn't have mobile phones. If it was convenient, I could have placed an order and had it delivered to my door a few days ago. In the final analysis, they just wanted to prostitute me for free and asked me to pay for it. I raised the corners of my lips and suppressed my voice. "Husband, have you missed me? You usually sleep with me in your arms, and you always ask me to kiss you before going to bed. I'm not at home these days. How do you sleep? On the surveillance camera?" When Lisa Zhang heard my flirting words, her face immediately turned livid, and she quickly grabbed Stephen Zhang's arm and asked him to hang up the phone. Stephen Zhang naturally didn't dare to watch my video. He ignored Lisa Zhang and hurriedly responded to me. "Of course. I miss my wife. Wife, please come back quickly." I smiled and said, "Well, you miss me so much. Why don't I come back by car tomorrow?" Hearing what I said, the corners of Stephen Zhang's mouth froze immediately. He swallowed. "No, my wife is busy at work. So work hard. I am very sensible and will wait for my wife to come back home." I replied, "Husband, please call me by my pet name. Who am I to you?" Lisa Zhang could not stand the man she had loved for so many years flirting with another woman. Her little face suddenly turned red. She was wiping tears, and she reached out to grab the phone. How could Stephen Zhang let her succeed? He turned to the phone and said to me, "Kiss my wife. I miss you." I nodded with satisfaction. "Honey, you're so good. Wait until I get home. Don't run around. It's so hot outside." After that, I hung up the phone to end the surveillance video. Lisa Zhang was shaking with anger. She started wiping tears while sitting alone on the sofa. Stephen Zhang coaxed her for a while before coaxing her back. "This is just the beginning. When the high temperature hits tomorrow, it will be hell for you." Knowing that I would place an order for groceries, Stephen Zhang was completely relieved and was not ready to go out to buy food. Stephen Zhang took a bite of the mutton roll, and he couldn't help but sigh. "It's so hot outside. It's most enjoyable to eat a hot pot at home with the air conditioner on." Lisa Zhang was busy and responded, "Yes, hubby, you will eat it." The vegetables and fruits in the refrigerator were not fresh anymore, so I threw them away. "Didn't I say someone will deliver fresh ones tomorrow?" "Husband, look at Lily Chen. It's true. Isn't her salary quite high? Why did she buy some stale fruit for you to eat? It will hurt my husband. I will feel bad. If I were by your side, I would buy you the freshest fruits to eat every day and cook your favorite dishes for you." As she spoke, Lisa Zhang pressed her lips against Stephen Zhang's. As if no one else was around, Stephen Zhang rubbed Lisa Zhang's waist and replied softly, "Lily Chen is a bitch. A bitch. How can she compare with you? When I find a way to kill her later, I will bring you and your son back." Lisa Zhang smiled shyly, opened the door, and threw out the fruits that she thought were not fresh enough. Early the next morning, the sun set overnight, and high temperatures hit. With the temperature soaring to 65 degrees, it's impossible to go out in this temperature. The once bustling streets are deserted. Schools are closed. Companies are shut down. And the whole city is starting to shut down. The old-fashioned air conditioner at home no longer works. Only the new air conditioner in the master bedroom that I had just installed could produce some cool breeze. But with that cool breeze, the indoor temperature reached as high as 35 degrees. The four of them were crowded in the master bedroom, which was not very spacious. Helen Zhang was busy fanning Liam Zhang with a cattail leaf fan. The four of them were sweating profusely and extremely hot, and I was eating ice cream in the hot pot for air conditioning. I have installed several central air conditioners with the solar panels on the roof. The air conditioning is extremely powerful. 2 puppies were nestling next to me. They ate the big chicken drumsticks I had prepared and chewed them with great enthusiasm. I looked at their family on the surveillance camera. Liam Zhang was sweating profusely and clamoring for a big chicken drumstick, but all the food in the house was ruined by them. So there was nothing else. Stephen Zhang lay on the bed like a young man, pointed to the door, and said to Helen Zhang, "Mom, didn't you hear Liam Zhang say he was hungry? Go get him something to eat." Where Helen Zhang could do anything, little Liam Zhang got angry and punched Helen Zhang twice in the face. "Helen Zhang is the big bad guy. You won't cook me delicious food." Although Helen Zhang was in pain, she still felt sorry for her grandson and hurriedly walked out of the room to cook. She looked at the few packages of instant ramen left at home, ordered 2 bowls, and brought them into the room, but the instant ramen got hotter and hotter as they ate. The family, who was already sweating profusely, was already extremely hot. The air conditioner was on, and the room temperature was almost 40 degrees. Stephen Zhang wiped the sweat from his forehead, fully expecting that the things I purchased online would arrive home today. After all, in his opinion, I love him so much, how could I not buy it for him? Liam Zhang screamed when he took a bite of instant ramen. He raised his hand and knocked over a pot of instant ramen. The noodle soup had spilled all over the floor before Stephen Zhang took a bite. Liam Zhang made a fuss. "I don't want to eat instant ramen. I want to eat big chicken drumsticks." Stephen Zhang was a little angry. He picked up the chopsticks and was about to slap Liam Zhang twice. Lisa Zhang felt sorry for her son and hurriedly protected her. "What are you doing? Just cook another bag after spilling it. Why are you beating your son? He has not had a father by his side since he was a child. And you are attacking him." Stephen Zhang didn't say anything but just motioned to Helen Zhang to cook another bowl of instant ramen. Helen Zhang shook her head. "These are the last 2 packages, they are gone." Seeing this, Stephen Zhang suddenly lost his temper. He picked up the chopsticks and hit Liam Zhang twice in the face. After a few blows, the chubby little guy's face was covered with red marks from the chopsticks. Made this little scourge. The last 2 packs of instant ramen were ruined like this. And the previous watermelons were all ruined by your little hooves. The more Stephen Zhang thought about it, the angrier he became. He raised his foot and kicked Liam Zhang twice, making him scream until the afternoon. None of my online shopping was delivered to my home. Stephen Zhang couldn't stand it anymore and called me another video. The video came over, and I was lying on the sofa eating watermelon. I hurriedly got up and connected the video. "What's wrong with my husband?" Stephen Zhang, at the other end of the video, was sweating profusely. He wiped the sweat from his face and said, "Honey, why haven't the things you bought arrived yet?" I pretended not to know anything. "Haven't you sent it over yet? How could it be? I bought thousands of dollars worth of stuff." Stephen Zhang was a little anxious. "Honey, we don't have anything to eat at home. Can you call me and ask when it will be delivered?" I lowered my head and looked at my phone. I just asked customer service, and they said it was too hot today and they stopped working, so they couldn't deliver it. I remember there was a box of watermelons at home when I left. Why don't you guys eat some watermelon to relieve the heat? Stephen Zhang looked back at the 2 boxes of watermelon that had been destroyed by Liam Zhang. He was so angry that he rushed into the room while playing the video. Liam Zhang was playing with his mobile phone in the room. Stephen Zhang stepped forward and grabbed Liam Zhang's collar and pulled him off the bed. He kicked Liam Zhang's butt 5 or 6 times, causing Liam Zhang to cry loudly, with tears all over his fleshy face. It was not until this point that Stephen Zhang felt relieved that he suppressed his anger and spoke to me. "Honey, watermelon has finished eating too. I lowered my head and took a scoop of ice-cold watermelon, which made watermelon appear in the scene. Stephen Zhang's eyes suddenly lit up. And Helen Zhang, who was sitting behind Stephen Zhang, also hurriedly squeezed in front of the camera. "Oh, Lin, why do you still have watermelon to eat here?" I chuckled lightly. "It's still iced. I bought too much and couldn't finish it." As I said that, I took a big spoonful and put it into the dog's bowl. I really can't finish it, so I can only give it to the dogs. Otherwise, it will be wasted. I picked up the ice-cold Coke on the side and took a sip at the camera. I didn't like drinking Coke before, but now I realize that it's really good to take a sip of Coke when it's hot. I watched Stephen Zhang and Helen Zhang swallow their saliva in the video, and the eyes looking at the Coke in my hand became hot. Stephen Zhang was busy coaxing me. "Honey, I miss you so much. Can you take a taxi back? Although the weather is hot, I miss you. So come back quickly. Otherwise, your dear husband will starve to death. Also, honey, bring some watermelon and iced Coke when you come back." Helen Zhang clapped her hands, changing her usual ferocious look, and her face was full of gentleness. "Yes, Lin. Liam Zhang is young and can't hold back his hunger and can't bask in the sun. You, an adult, should eat less. Just bring some food back. When you come back, Mom will leave you the biggest and sweetest slice of watermelon this time." I sneered, thinking of my last life. When the family ran out of food and Stephen Zhang was so hungry that he felt dizzy, he held my neck to prevent me from resisting and tied my hands and feet while I was asleep. He then knocked on the door next door. "There is a perverted bachelor living next door to our house who likes to spy on and follow us." Stephen Zhang made a deal with him. As long as he gave him half a box of instant ramen, he would let me sleep with him once. My face was full of tears, and I refused to die. Stephen Zhang stepped forward and slapped me twice. "Damn woman. You are lucky to be able to exchange for half a box of instant ramen. How valuable do you think you are? I don't want to pay anyone to sleep with you." Helen Zhang heard the sound and came out, with her feet facing my back. "Lily Chen, there is still a man willing to sleep with you, so you can have fun. Hurry up and change to something delicious. Don't starve my eldest grandson. If you have chicken legs, you can sleep with her twice." Helen Zhang smiled all over her face and raised her finger at the pervert. The memory came back, and I looked at Stephen Zhang on the screen of my mobile phone. I remembered what had happened to me in my previous life, and I clenched my fists. "Honey, it's too far away from me. Otherwise, if I love you so much, why would I let you starve? I'll see if I can get in touch with you today. If I can get in touch with you, I'll rush home. Otherwise, let Mom go out to find some food. You are the most precious in our family, and Liam Zhang is the second most precious. Let Mom go find you some food." I raised my lips and couldn't help but sigh. Mom loves you so much, and I think if you go out now, the most you will get is a sunburn, which is better than letting you starve. After that, I hung up the phone directly. "Want me to go back?" Dreaming. A group of people just wanted to get me for free. There were constant heat warnings outside. I got heat stroke after 5 minutes outside. They thought I was stupid. Hang up the phone. Stephen Zhang glanced at me. Helen Zhang, thoughtfully, and curled his lips. "Mom, Lin is right. Why don't you go out and buy some food? There is a Safeway in front of our Sunnybrook Estates. You can buy whatever you want." Helen Zhang glanced at the big sun outside the window. The sun was so scary that it seemed like she could reach it if the floor were higher. Outside the window, some people went out to do shopping on the roadside. Many people couldn't stand the high temperature and fell on the roadside and passed out. Helen Zhang was so frightened that she waved her hands. "No, the sun is so bright outside. I will die if I go out." Lisa Zhang smiled, took out the sunscreen and sunscreen hat that she was reluctant to use, and handed them over. "Mom, it's okay. Just put on some sunscreen, and you won't even get sunburned. This sunscreen is valuable and very useful. It's just a bit hot when you go outside, but nothing else will happen." You go out and see if Safeway has facial masks and bring some for me. Helen Zhang took the sunscreen with tears all over her face. It's so hot outside. I'll die if I go out. I watched Helen Zhang crying bitterly on the surveillance camera. She also knew that she would die if she went outside at this temperature. In my previous life, when I was locked outside on the balcony, she was the first to applaud me. That time, Helen Zhang put her hands on her hips and scolded me. You are so squeamish. I asked you to go out to buy something, and you only brought back a few potatoes. Is it so hot outside? You did it on purpose. We're not going to let you dry out on the balcony. Otherwise, you won't even know what this family's last name is. Helen Zhang's face was filled with tears, and even her sweet grandson, who was always at the top of her heart and loved her, ran out. Liam Zhang pushed Helen Zhang away from me. Hurry up and buy some food. Otherwise I won't have you as a grandma. I want big chicken drumsticks. Helen Zhang had no choice but to wipe her tears and prepare to go out. But when she saw the vegetables at the door that had rotted due to the high temperature, Helen Zhang turned around and threw the dishes in Lisa Zhang's face. You bitch. Are you throwing these dishes? You threw away the vegetables. You deliberately wanted to starve our whole family to death. Lisa Zhang immediately panicked and waved her hands quickly. I didn't. It was Lily Chen who said someone would deliver food today, so I threw it away. How did I know it was so hot today? She turned around to explain to Stephen Zhang. But Stephen Zhang was so hot that he couldn't think. He was already grumpy, and the high temperature made him lose his mind. He raised the corners of his mouth in a sinister smile. Mom, you go buy some food first and come back. We can't negotiate this. If you can't bring back food, Mom, don't come back either. Helen Zhang was trembling, pulling on the door handle and refusing to let go. As for these wasted vegetables, Lily and I will have a good chat. After saying that, Stephen Zhang raised his hand and pushed Helen Zhang directly out of the house without even giving her a sunscreen umbrella. Helen Zhang staggered out of the door, found a cardboard box from the trash can at the door, and put it over her head. She walked out the door angrily and ran away as if she were racing against the god of time. After Helen Zhang, went out to look for food, Stephen Zhang did not let Lisa Zhang go. He had a violent tendency and usually disguised himself very well in front of me, but when something happens, his irritable nature comes out. In the last life, there was no food to eat, and the high temperature caused the internet to be disconnected. He felt bored for a moment. So Stephen Zhang ran to the toilet and beat me on the ground so hard that my face was covered with blood. It's not for anything else. Just because he finds it interesting and uses me to relieve his boredom. After beating me, Lisa Zhang walked up to me as if she was showing off. She lifted my chin with her hand, full of provocation. Sister-in-law, if you give birth to a son, you won't have to be beaten. You are useless, and you can't blame others. This time, things have turned. I looked at the surveillance screen. Stephen Zhang was approaching Lisa Zhang step by step. He locked Liam Zhang in the room, then turned around and punched Lisa Zhang in the face. Young man, I let you waste food. What you threw away is enough for us to eat for 3 or 4 days. Lisa Zhang covered her face. Honey, listen to me. I didn't mean to do it. It was Lily Chen who said she would deliver the food today, so I threw it away. As she spoke, her eyes turned red. But Stephen Zhang didn't listen at all. He picked up the clothes-drying rack nearby and punched her again. Stephen Zhang didn't stop until Lisa Zhang's face was beaten with bruises. He sneered. I'm not beating you for anything else. Just to relieve my boredom. As long as you obey, I won't do anything. Lisa Zhang was nestled in the corner. She wiped her tears and nodded. It wasn't until the next morning that Helen Zhang, came back. At the entrance of the stairs. She was lying on the stairs. The clothes on her body had been burned by the sun and had several big holes. All the exposed skin was sunburned. The wrinkled skin on her face was now peeled off layer by layer, step by step. She crawled on the ground with her palms towards the door of her home, using the last of her strength. Helen Zhang knocked on the door. After Stephen Zhang opened the door, he didn't care at all about how miserable his mother was looking for food for him. All he cared about was what Helen Zhang. Brought back. He grabbed Helen Zhang's arm and was busy looking at the food in her arms. Helen Zhang went out to search for several hours and only managed to grab a few bags of instant ramen and half of a stinky watermelon, which she put in her arms. Helen Zhang pulled on the corner of Stephen Zhang's clothes as if he were on the edge of life. Water. Sun. Water. Stephen Zhang snorted coldly and kicked her directly. You old man. You just brought back such a small thing, it's useless. Stephen Zhang dragged Helen Zhang through the door. Mom. Take a rest and go out to get something later. Hearing what Stephen Zhang said, Helen Zhang's hands were shaking, and her face was filled with tears. The son she had raised with so much hard work turned out to be such a thing. He didn't care about her life or death at all during the heat crisis. Helen Zhang had no strength left. She could crawl home just because she had her precious son and grandson waiting for food at home. She only got home with this belief, but facing such a white-eyed wolf, she even felt that it would be better to die on the way. Stephen Zhang left me. Helen Zhang. At the door of my house. He took the food directly to the air-conditioned room without caring about it. And the three of us shared it. Lisa Zhang sat aside with a bruised nose and a swollen face and only got a small portion of the watermelon skin. She was so hungry that she took 2 bites and ate all the watermelon skin. Stephen Zhang called me again, and I connected the video. Stephen Zhang's face was red, and he was sweating profusely. The air conditioner in the room was completely disabled and could not operate. The thermometer in the room showed that the temperature had reached 40 degrees. He fanned himself with a cattail leaf fan and said coquettishly to me on the other end of the phone, "Honey, when are you coming back? Have you got in the car? I miss you so much." At this point, I no longer pretended. I sneered. "Come back. Where are you going?" Stephen Zhang noticed something was wrong with me. "Honey, what's wrong with you? Go home. If you don't come back, your precious husband will starve to death." I snorted coldly and held back the insult. "Stephen Zhang, I will go back when you are dead." "Stephen Zhang, do you think I don't know about the things you did? Haha. Just wait for death. I know everything about you and Lisa Zhang. And you and your mother put drugs in my diet to cause me to miscarry. You also secretly bought me personal accident insurance. You pushed me when I fell from the stairs last time. You did all of this." When Stephen Zhang heard what I said, he was completely confused. He didn't expect me to know everything. "Liam Zhang is your son. You're still pretending," Stephen Zhang quickly explained. "Honey, no. Who are you listening to? I didn't. If there is any misunderstanding, come back first, and I will explain it to you. Okay." I rolled my eyes at him impatiently. "Go back. Do you want to go back and do something to me?" "I'm not that stupid." I turned around and pointed the camera at the refrigerator full of food and ice cream drinks. "Want to eat? Stephen Zhang, you can enjoy these. But who told you to be a bitch? You deserve it. Just wait for death. Even if I feed the food to the dog, I will not take it back to you to eat." As I said that, I squatted down, picked up the big chicken leg on the side, and fed it to the puppy. I hung up the phone without waiting for him to speak, not wanting to hear any more nonsense from him. Point 10. On the surveillance camera, after Stephen Zhang saw me hanging up the video, he called me a few more times. I blocked him and turned off the phone. Seeing this, Stephen Zhang cursed loudly, picked up the vase on the side, and threw it to the ground, swearing again and again. "Maid, Lily Chen, you must not die happily. I marry you for your good fortune. It's shameless. When I survive, I will kill you and make you kneel and be my dog. I will kill you and kill you." Stephen Zhang was almost crazy. So scared that Lisa Zhang cowered in the corner and did not dare to speak. When she left the room and asked Helen Zhang to go find some food for her family, she saw the old lady leaning on the door and falling to the ground. Taking a closer look, Lisa Zhang lightly kicked her twice, but the old lady was already hard and had been dead for a while. There were burns all over her body, and even half of her scalp had been sunburned. Lisa Zhang was startled, and she called Stephen Zhang twice while she was busy. Stephen Zhang had just eaten 2 packs of instant ramen, and before he could wipe his mouth, he ran out and saw that his mother was dead. He sighed. looking sad. It's over now. No one will buy me food anymore. This old lady doesn't know how to bring more food back. She's going to die anyway. Drag the old lady out and throw her away. Otherwise, the house will stink in this weather. After saying that, he waved his hand and entered the room as if the person lying at the door was not his mother. Lisa Zhang looked at the man in front of her who said such treacherous words. And she was a little scared. This man was nothing like the man she had loved for many years. If Stephen Zhang could do such a thing to his mother, then he would not let her go so easily. But where could she go if she ran away? 11. That night, Lisa Zhang wanted to escape while Stephen Zhang was asleep. After thinking for a long time, she took Liam Zhang and knocked on the door next door. The perverted bachelor next door's eyes lit up when he saw Lisa Zhang. Lisa Zhang was good-looking and had white skin. She wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. And I felt pity for her. Brother. Our orphans and widows have nowhere to go. Can you take us in? You can do whatever you want. The bachelor's eyes sparkled, and he hurriedly let Lisa Zhang in, seeing how pitiful she was. He gave her a pack of instant ramen to eat. Lisa Zhang swallowed with satisfaction and did not look at how much food the bachelor still had in stock. The bachelor hurriedly pulled Lisa Zhang into the bedroom and came out after an unknown amount of time. She took Liam Zhang and hid in the bachelor's house next door for a few days. Stephen Zhang woke up the next day and found that he was the only one at home. He was a little angry. He called several times, but Lisa Zhang didn't answer. She called me, but I didn't answer either. He was so angry that he stomped around the house and couldn't go out without food. He picked up the rotten watermelon skin on the ground and ate it for 3 days. On the 4th day after Lisa Zhang disappeared, a neighbor knocked on Stephen Zhang's door. Stephen Zhang was as hungry as a skin and bones, and he opened the door weakly. The person standing at the door was the perverted bachelor, and the disheveled women beside him were Lisa Zhang and Liam Zhang. The bachelor was about to cry but said, "The little food I have saved will be eaten by them soon. Take your wife and children away quickly." The bachelor still seemed to be provocative. "I'm tired of playing with you, little wife. I'll give it back to you." Lisa Zhang's eyes were full of fear, and she stepped back in a hurry. Liam Zhang was also scared and wanted to run after him, but how could Stephen Zhang, who was so angry, let her go so easily? He grabbed Lisa Zhang's long hair and threw her against the wall. The bachelor just wanted to watch the excitement and closed the door directly. Cutting off Lisa Zhang's escape, Stephen Zhang pushed Lisa Zhang to the ground and sat directly on Lisa Zhang. "You bitch. How dare you steal someone behind my back? How dare you run away? I want you to die." His hands were wrapped around Lisa Zhang's neck. Lisa Zhang was already thin and couldn't get away no matter how hard she struggled. The veins all over her face were about to burst. At this moment, Liam Zhang rushed up and slapped Stephen Zhang on the shoulder. "Let my mother go. Let her go." Stephen Zhang let go of his hand in pain. Stephen Zhang swung his arm, but with a slight force, and hit Liam Zhang's head. Liam Zhang was knocked to the ground. The space in the corridor was small, and he was standing at the entrance of the stairs. When he fell, Liam Zhang rolled down the stairs. Lisa Zhang's face was filled with tears, and she rushed downstairs. She picked up Liam Zhang but saw that his head was covered with blood. "Liam Zhang, what are you doing? What are you doing?" She shook Liam Zhang in her arms, but Liam Zhang twisted his neck, fell down the stairs, and died. Lisa Zhang collapsed completely. She knelt on the ground and cried loudly as if her soul had been taken away. Her eyes were glassy. Lisa Zhang looked up at the initiator with anger on her face. But Stephen Zhang seemed not to care about anything. He clapped his hands and said, "Why are you crying? If the child is gone, we will just have another one. As long as you don't run away, I will have a son with you in the future. Don't you like your son?" Lisa Zhang went completely crazy. She picked up the stick someone had placed at the top of the stairs and rushed toward Stephen Zhang, but she was no match for Stephen Zhang. After a few moments, she was pushed to the ground. Lisa Zhang cried, "At least let me collect my son's body." "Okay." Stephen Zhang sneered. "Why collect corpses? It's such a hot day. They're dead. Why do you care about them?" After saying that, he dragged Lisa Zhang back home by her legs. 12. Lisa Zhang's hands and feet were tied. and she was thrown directly into the toilet by Stephen Zhang in the middle of the night. She groped for the bathroom floor tiles. 2 of them had cracks. She picked up one and cut her wrist directly. Lisa Zhang's face was full of tears before she died. Her son was her baby and all her hope, now that Liam Zhang's body was still being thrown outside the door without anyone taking care of it. Since she couldn't take revenge, she would just die with Liam Zhang. At least this way. Liam Zhang would not be alone on the road to hell. Lisa Zhang thought so and immediately slit her wrist. Early the next morning, Stephen Zhang woke up and wanted Lisa Zhang to go out to find something to eat. But he saw that the toilet floor was covered with blood and that Lisa Zhang had expired. But just like this, Stephen Zhang didn't feel any guilt at all. Instead, he felt that Lisa Zhang deserved it. He even scolded her for being useless. At least buy him something to eat before he dies. There is no food at home. Stephen Zhang's original weight of 150 pounds has lost 30 to 40 pounds in the past few days. His cheeks were sunken. And he only had the last pack of instant ramen left. And he only dared to eat a few sticks a day. The water in the house also stopped. And he only had a glass of water left. He had no choice but to save his urine as water to drink. But in just half a month, he was no longer human. When I saw him like this, I naturally wanted to send him off. I called him when Stephen Zhang received the call. He seemed to have seen his last hope. Honey, you are finally willing to contact me. Are you willing to forgive me? At the end of the video, not only did I not lose weight, but I gained a few pounds. I picked up the smoothie in front of me and waved it in front of the camera of my phone. There is smoothie. Do you want to eat it? I still have a lot of ice watermelon here. I even have hundreds of packs of instant ramen. Do you want it? Stephen Zhang nodded. I want it. I smiled with satisfaction, raised my hand to open the curtains of the villa, and waved to him who was standing behind the balcony glass. Stephen Zhang, look here. The moment he saw me, Stephen Zhang was surprised and happy. And I met his gaze. He knew immediately that he was being teased. Stephen Zhang's guard was broken. And he yelled, Lily Chen, you are just kidding me by riding a horse. You live across from me. And you don't even give me food. You did it on purpose. You bitch. He scolded me harshly. But I didn't care at all. I snorted coldly, picked up the ice Coke in front of me, and drank it all in one gulp. Stephen Zhang, keep your mouth clean. It's up to me whether you can survive now. I live across from you. If you can come over, these are yours. If not, then I can only enjoy them by myself. After saying that, I hung up the phone and waved to him on the balcony opposite. Stephen Zhang was completely furious and smashed the phone in his hand, without thinking. He picked up the parasol on one side and rushed downstairs, but now the temperature outside has reached over 70 degrees. And no one dares to go out. Stephen Zhang had just stepped out. And the heat wave made him flinch, but he looked at me living in the villa, holding watermelon in my hand, and he clenched his fists. The distance between the 2 buildings was only a few hundred meters. So he ran 2 more steps to get there. Stephen Zhang thought so, clenched his fists, and rushed into the scorching sun. Imagination is always beautiful. But reality is not. Stephen Zhang was sweating profusely after running for a few steps. And his clothes were burned by the sun. The material of the clothes he was wearing was still flammable. But he had just run out 200 or 300 meters under the sun. The clothes on Stephen Zhang caught fire. He quickly took off his clothes and screamed out in pain. His body was burned by the fire. And Stephen Zhang fell to the ground in pain. The sun was so hot that he felt like he was going to die. With his last strength, he tried to crawl forward. He didn't have any clothes to cover him. But within a few minutes, all his flesh turned red, and a layer of skin fell off. Stephen Zhang looked at the door of the villa, but it was only a dozen meters away. He gritted his teeth and looked at me, who was waving to him. Lily Chen, help me, help me. I sneered and continued to eat the iced watermelon as if I hadn't seen anything under the scorching sun. He suddenly raised his head and was exposed to strong ultraviolet rays. His eyes, which had just glanced at the sun, immediately began to bleed. His scalp also began to fall off, and he screamed in pain. But no one came to save him in the empty streets, and I just stood by and closed the curtains. letting him die on the roadside. This heatwave apocalypse did not end after 2 months like the previous one. Unexpectedly, the day after Stephen Zhang died, the heat wave ended when the street cleaning crew rushed over. They saw that Stephen Zhang had been turned into a mummy. Neighbors who heard his screams lamented. "It's such a pity. If only he had stayed out for one more day, he would have survived." I sneered and said nothing but nodded and said it was a pity. I silently handled everyone's funeral affairs. I buried Lisa Zhang and Liam Zhang together. From some angles, she was a little pitiful. I sold all the houses in my name, bought the villa where I live now in full, and started a new life with my dogs. I don't want to get married anymore. I think it's good to live alone. At least when the end of the world comes, I won't be stabbed in the back by my closest friends. Right?